Now I know many of you see me as basically a god. Handsome, rich, good with the ladies. But as it turns out, I too am just a mortal pig. And while I've never worked a gross retail job in my life, I do sometimes wonder what it's like to be a dirty, disgusting peasant working for minimum wage. You know, I should make a minigame about it to find out. A fast food simulator. Do you get it? I'm gonna make a game out of your sad life. Now I could make a minigame which simulates you being a great astronaut, or simulates you being a world-renowned artist. But instead, I'm gonna make a minigame where you get to simulate being a fast food wagee. Okay, so my general idea for this minigame is, imagine this is your UI, right? And then occasionally you'll have an order come in. So for example, like, doom, doom, doom. And then this is an order we have to fulfill, being bread, cookies, and some cocoa beans. What I would want the player to do is gather these materials, and then what you have to do is then put it in a shulker box like this, and this sort of acts as the fast food bag. You pick up that shulker and then submit it in a barrel, and that acts as your fast food order right there. And then we'll have a whole redstone system which will take that and then evaluate if it has the correct items or not. And while this seems really, really simple, it's actually way harder than you think. Okay, what happens if the player submits bread, steak, and just cookies, right? You put those in. Now, usually if you just do this via an item filter system, it will detect the bread and the steak, and then you'll get a correct signal. Oh, the order was done. But you've accidentally given them cookies as well. And you should be penalized for that because it's an incorrect order. I mean, the customer would be happy, but your manager, you've just given out a free cookie. You deserve to be fired out of cannon. What if you correctly put in bread, but not the steak? So that marks as done, but you still have the steak. You need like a timeout circuit as well. Like, I'm gonna be honest here, making an order detection system was deceptively hard. But don't worry, I've already done it, it's over here. This is one thin slice for the order evaluation system for one specific item. For example, diamonds. How this actually works is if I hit this button over here, it will activate this dropper in a 50-50 randomizer. If it so happens to draw the sword, it will push this redstone block forwards and indicate to the player, hey, this order requires a diamond. And then when we actually submit this diamond in this hopper, it evaluates if that's a diamond and then deactivates it, and that is a correct pulse. As you can see, we've just repeated that mechanism a bunch of times in a row, and as a result, we now have this evaluation system of different items. So for example, if I hit this button right now, it will power all of them and generate us an order. So this is a real big one which requires everything but bread. From here, I've just taken this mechanism and added a bunch of goop on the sides to make the logic work a bit better. For example, a shulker unpacker over here. So if we generate an order on this new system, for example, we've got an pumpkin pie, steak, cocoa beans, and honey, we are actually expected to get all those items and pack it in a fast food box, this shulker box. We then grab that shulker box and submit it into this system. And then it will do a bunch of fancy evaluation to see if we got the order correct or not. And yay, we got a ding, correct. And then it will now auto-generate us the next order in the sequence. So for example, steak and honey. Now this seems like it should be the bulk of the redstone done. We've got the ordering system for our fast food minigame. Surely that's it, right? But then I got to thinking, if the minigame is just us having a bunch of chests with ingredients and just crafting the food stuff and submitting it, that's gonna kinda be boring, isn't it? You see, I'm not just going to do gathering ingredients in the normal manner. I'm instead gonna get fancy with it. So for example, to gather eggs, you don't just get them from chickens. Instead, we have a giant chicken where you have to throw a loyalty trident at the lit up light, to which he will then hatch an egg. And then for wheat, you don't just grow and farm wheat, no, instead you use the eggs from the chicken as projectiles in this sort of skee ball minigame, where you have to then use the eggs, and then for each hit you get wheat. And in fact, if you hit the higher ones, this one gets you 2 wheat, and this target gets you 3 wheat, so there's a bit of a risk versus reward. And keep in mind, you have to use the eggs for this. So you could use the eggs to craft the pumpkin pie, or you could use the eggs to gather the wheat for the cookies. For the raw beef or the pumpkins, you have to play a bit of a gambling minigame where when you hit this button, it will choose one of them for you to be given. So for example, that was beef, or if I hit it again, okay, beef again, come on. That was a pumpkin, so I get one pumpkin that side. So it could really screw you over if you're against the time. For cocoa beans, I thought it'd be funny if you gather the cocoa beans from a toilet, so you have to... Don't blame me, it's very hygienic. For honey bottles, you'll have glass bottles, which you'll then just fill up to water in the normal way, but then you have to transport them over to this mechanism, where you then submit the water bottles into it, and you have to honeyize them, or something, where you get a light at the bottom, and you have to slowly put in the work to move this light all the way up to the top. You're really turning it into honey, and then boom, then once it's at the top, it turns it into honey. And then the last one, how do you cook the raw beef? I thought instead of just sticking it in a furnace, what about a furnace where you have to like keep an eye on it? So when you hit this pressure plate, it puts one stick into the furnace, which as you can see, burns really quickly. So you could do other stuff while the steak is cooking, but you do have to occasionally keep an eye on it to keep it fueled. So you're going to be bouncing between all those mini games to try and complete these orders and get all the ingredients before the timer runs out on each individual order, where we'll probably have like a bar above and which like slowly ticks down. And that's the general idea for the minigame, right? Now, the original idea was to sort of make this like a McDonald's and make it like a fast food restaurant, but I kind of got ahead of myself and... It's not really a McDonald's anymore, is it? I actually had a huge amount of issue trying to get these desperately different elements to work together into one big map. I originally had an idea of like putting them on floating islands that the player would have to frantically run about and parkour between each stage to maybe get cocoa beans, and then you gotta run over to the chicken. But this just didn't work. It kind of looked really butt ugly. So I instead went back to the drawing board and reorganized them differently. This was the model I sort of came up with. I decided to instead come up with a farm or outdoor-like environment. And I tried to include the parkour element into this map slightly. So for example, the order system is on this area over here, which is on a raised platform. Now, let's say I need to get over to the honey. That should be easy. I'd be able to just swim up like this, get the honey, but then getting back there, you have a big cliff face. So instead what you have to do is run all the way over here, and then you'd have to like parkour and navigate all the way back round over here. So it might have a bit of challenge actually navigating it as well. Now, obviously, this looks but ugly. This is just a sort of demonstration model. What I did from here was make it a bit more pretty. And that's what I've done over here. And this is basically the final version of the game, where all the elements are in place. Over here we have the beef and the pumpkin gambling machine, right next to the chicken, where you have tridents. Now I've tried to position the chicken in a way that you have to shoot the trident from across the river, and the chicken lays from his posterior into this sort of nest over here, so you do actually have to navigate back up to the high ground just to get the eggs. Obviously we have the honey machine over here, and we have the furnace over here, which you then have to fuel. I've sort of tried to position this as you shoveling coal into the furnace. I know it sticks, but like, shut up, whatever. And then over here we have a lumberjack's hut. And how you get the cocoa beans is stealing the toilet of the lumberjack. But the issue with this is it's a bit chaotic and disjointed. What? Like, who's ordering? Like, whose order are we fulfilling? And I tried to fulfill that by adding a new section over here, which is like a mini factory with some semi-trucks backed up. And in my head, what you're doing is like fulfilling orders by putting them into the back of the trucks. You also have the orange truck order and the blue truck order over here. Now, I won't lie, I will not be explaining this, but I have put in a whole bunch of redstone just to get the game logic working on this thing, but it should be working, should be fine. So if I do a quick demo by starting the game over here, which I've labeled Start Shift, That will generate us our first order. Now here's the thing, at the start of the game, you only have to fulfill the one order. The second one does not come online until you've done 2 successful orders from the blue. And then when I hit this button, that will force a second correct order, to which we then have a second order going at the exact same time. And each order is timed individually, represented by this big bar at the top. So it could be kind of challenging to balance 2 orders at once. Now do keep in mind that each order is given 2.5 minutes to gather all its elements, craft it, and submit it to be a correct order, to which the timer resets. So you get 150 seconds per order. Now, I have not even play tested this game yet. I don't know if 2.5 minutes is too long or too short. I'll figure that out. Okay, I can't avoid it anymore. Let's talk about this terrible comparator clock. This is probably some of the worst redstone I have ever done in recent time. This is so bad, I actually made a meme about it to my community posts because I was so embarrassed that this was my solution. Okay, let me defend this for a second. I have not playtested this game yet. I don't know if 2.5 minutes is going to be long or short, too hard or too easy. With a big comparator clock, I can just take off comparators to make it easier or harder. I can add on more comparators. It makes it good. Oh god, I've broken something. So how do you actually lose the minigame? When does it end? As much as I would like to say that the shift workers never get an end from their wagey hell, I have actually added a loss condition, and it's very simple. As soon as you either miss an order by timing it out, or you do an order incorrectly, as soon as you mess up one order on either one of these, the game ends. So you basically go as long as you can doing correct orders. And in terms of score, what I actually do is for every correct order on either the blue or the orange, it submits 1 diamond into this chest here, which I have lovingly called the employee payment. So here is the minigame in Minigame Bay. I've decided to call it Farmin' Frenzy. And I've actually got a nice little farmer skin to go for it as well. Yee. I know this started off as a McDonald's simulator minigame and it's completely gone off in a different direction, but screw it! Screw it! 3, 2, 1, go! Small order, small order. Oh, come on! Oh, that's so mean! Okay, we do need beef. Okay, there's beef, there's beef. We need bread, which means we need eggs. So I do need a lot of eggs. And we also had cookies, which requires 4 wheat. So I need 4 wheat. I need this. Oh, stop missing! Stop missing! Okay, there's 1 egg. There's 2. One more. Okay, that should be enough eggs. Okay, did I need pumpkin pie? Oh god, I hope I don't need pumpkin pie. Hang on, let's just get some of this. Okay, let's go. Go. I need 4 wheat. That's... Come on. No pumpkin pie, no pumpkin pie. Okay, that's good. Okay. I'm trying to think. I need to be fast. Please don't miss. Come on, 1. Come on! 2. 3. Oh, I got it with my last one. Ooh. Okay, there's the wheat. There's the thing. I need to grab the steak. I've got to cook the steak. Okay, right, I've got the steak. I can make the cookies. I can make the bread, and I have the cocoa beans. This should be enough for the order. I just need to make it in time. Come on, don't mess up. Don't mess up. Don't mess up. How long do we have? Oh, we're running out. We're running out. Okay, so I need bread. I need cookies. It's too wheat! It's too wheat for the cookies! No! No! Ah! Oh! How did I mess up the cookie recipe? Me of all people! How did I mess up the cookie recipe? Ugh. If you would like to try and beat my grand high score of 0, this minigame will be available for download in my Discord as well as the whole of Minigame Bay. To be fair though, I actually think this is a pretty fun game. Trying to balance those stuff and remember what you need is kind of tricky. I imagine if I actually got to 2 orders at once, that would have been incredibly stressful. Unfortunately though, I just suck. I suck.